Welcome back to Everything You Want to Know About. It's been a while since I've done one of these episodes, and even a while since I've had any videos on my channel. What else can I say except 2020? Anyways, this is the show where I go over the entire history of comic book characters that just have not made the big time yet. And I got a doozy for you today. A character that's got more retcons than you can shake a stick at. Would you shake a stick at a retcon? I guess so. She's been in multiple TV shows, cartoons, and even movies, but just never made that breakout that make her a mainstream superhero. We have a lot to go over, so let's jump into it. Here's everything you want to know about Black Canary.
You see, man made the cars to take us over the road. Man made the train to carry.
Black Canary first appeared in Flash Comics number 86 in August of 1947. She was introduced as a side character for Johnny Thunder. A little bit about that statement. Back in this time in comics, each issue would have many stories, but with the title character getting the lead story. Johnny Thunder was the B story in Flash Comics. Writer Robert Navigator and artist Carmine Infantino wanted to beef up Johnny's roster, so they introduced a sexy lady villain, which would be Black Canary. Carmine Infantino was instructed to draw his fantasy woman for the character design, so he made a character that he said was strong in character and sexy in form. Once Black Canary is introduced, she became very popular, and since no one cares about Johnny Thunder, he was dumped in Flash Comics number 92 in February 1948. Black Canary took over the title B character in Flash Comics. From there, she joined the Justice Society of America and become a staple of the DC universe. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, though. You might be asking, what's the big deal with Black Canary? What can she do that's so special? Well, settle down there, buddy, and I'll tell you. With many retcons over the years, Black Canary's abilities have changed a lot, but one thing seems to never change: Black Canary can kick some major ass. She is first and foremost a hand-to-hand expert. She is trained by the likes of Wildcat, Lady Shiva, Cassandra Cain, and even Wonder Woman herself. She's even beaten Batman on occasion. She's also been depicted as an expert motorcyclist, gymnast, covert operative, and investigator. And on top of all that, she has a superpower. She has a supersonic scream she calls her Canary Cry. This has the ability to damage both organic and inorganic objects. It is stronger than most sonic weapons, can break metal, and even possibly shake the entire Earth. Even with this power, she prefers to work with her hands. So let's get into her history. The first Black Canary was Diana Drake. As I mentioned before, she started as a villain, but that was short-lived, and when she was given her first title role, she was given her first retcon. She was a vigilante that would infiltrate gangs and destroy them from the inside. In her civilian life, she was a mild-mannered florist who was dating Gotham policeman Larry Lance. During the day, saving plants, and at night, kicking ass. At this time, she was just a kick-ass lady with no superpowers. She would eventually join the Justice Society of America and become one of their most popular characters. Unfortunately, that popularity had come a little too late. This was in the waning days of the golden age of comics, and the popularity of superheroes was coming to an end. Yes, at some time in the world, superhero comics were not the most popular comics. But that meant Diana, along with many other heroes, would be shelved. Enter the late 1960s and the Silver Age of comics. Superheroes had a resurgence, and the DC rebooted many of their heroes. Big names like Batman and Superman would stay the same, but others like The Flash and Green Lantern would be reimaged for a new age. So this is where we get a new Black Canary, right? Well, not really. Diana would eventually show back up in Earth 2, Earth 2 being the alternate dimension where the Golden Age heroes grew old and were still living their normal lives. Diana had married Larry Lance and now has the name Diana Drake Lance. During a Justice League Justice Society team-up, Larry was killed by the villain Aquarius, and a grief-stricken Diana would move to Earth 1 and become part of the Justice League. This is where she met Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, for the first time, and they eventually fall in love and become one of the most famous superpower couples. Not quite Rogue and Gamut status, but still a pretty big deal. She also developed her canary cry at this time with no specific explanation. At this time, the comic industry was starting to get hit by one of their most prolific foes, people that remember continuity. People started to ask, if Black Canary started in the 1940s and grew up at the normal rate on Earth 2, why does she still look so sexy? And where did that canary cry come from? Well, DC cleared that up in Justice League of America number 219 and 220 in 1983, and it's the most insane Silver Age explanation they could possibly give. While on Earth 2, when Diana and Larry were married, they had a daughter, Diana Laurel Lance. Not to be confused with her mom, Diana Drake Lance. Completely different.
That little bitty change. It's not the same.
Diana Laurel was cursed by a wizard to have an uncontrollable sonic scream. Diana Drake and Larry went to their old friend Johnny Thunder for help. Hey, Johnny Thunder's back! Yay?
I hate that guy.
You see, Johnny Thunder had a thunderbolt. But it wasn't a thunderbolt, it was a genie named Thunderbolt. Confused yet? Gets worse. The Thunderbolt was unable to help Diana Laurel with the scream, so he put her in suspended animation until he could find a cure. Both parents were grief-stricken, so to help them, the Thunderbolt altered their memories so they believed their daughter died.
What? What the fuck?
Let me repeat that, because it bears repeating. To ease their grief, he made them think that their child died.
Wow, that's messed up.
Well, let's keep going. After a battle with Aquarius, this is a different battle than the one that killed Larry, Diana Drake found she was dying of radiation poisoning. She wanted to visit her daughter's grave one last time, and when she did, it was revealed that her daughter was alive and has been aging the entire time. Diana wanted her daughter to keep up the mantle of Black Canary, so Superman and Thunderbolt came up with a plan to transfer her memories into her daughter's mind. So that was the Diana that moved to Earth 1 and fell in love with Oliver. Not the original Black Canary, but her daughter had her mom's memories. Could they make that any more convoluted? Well, here comes Crisis on Infinite Earths to clean some stuff up. In 1985, DC had their big event, Crisis on Infinite Earths. The main goal was to merge all the different universes and reboot continuity to help simplify storylines. In this new universe, the Justice Society and the Justice League both happened. The Golden Age of Heroes had their Justice Society, then retired, leaving the mantle open for the Justice League. So with this change came a whole new revamp of the history of both Diana Drake Lance, the first Black Canary, and Diana Laurel Lance, the second Black Canary. They're still mother and daughter, but the whole thing is simplified. Both their backstories were told in Secret Origins number 50 in 1990. Diana Drake was trained by her father, Detective Richard Drake, to become a vigilante. She'd go on to join the Justice Society and marry Larry Lance. They would have a daughter, Diana Laurel Lance, who, inspired by her mother and growing up around heroes, decided to become a hero herself and would take up her mom's mantle of the Black Canary. Diana Laurel would also have her signature canary cry, but was due to a metagene, not a wizard. To make it simple, she was just born with it. See how easy that is? Geez, Silver Age, get your shit together. This new Black Canary would go on to join the Justice League, and that's where she meets the Green Arrow once again. Except it's the first time, because it's a reboot. They hate each other at first, but then begin dating because you can't keep these two crazy kids apart. After her mother's death, she leaves the Justice League and moves to Seattle with Green Arrow and opens a flower shop called Sherwood Florist. Sherwood Florist! When former Batgirl Barbara Gordon was injured by the Joker in The Killing Joke, she started fighting crime digitally and became Oracle. But fighting crime behind a computer can only get you so far. She needed some boots on the ground. She recruited Black Canary, and this would be the start of the Birds of Prey. This is the team that most people recognize Black Canary from. This team would go on to have many members, including Huntress, Batwoman, Hawkgirl, Misfit, Dove, Power Girl, Catwoman, and many, many more. Don't get too settled with her life in the Birds of Prey though, because here comes another event. This time it's Infinite Crisis. This event wouldn't reboot the universe, but instead adjust the Earth's timeline, and in this timeline the Justice League was formed after a major battle, and the founding members were Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, and our girl, Black Canary. Green Arrow would eventually join as well. Diana would become a major leader in the League and an integral member. She would finally marry Oliver in Countdown Justice League Wedding Special, but of course it's a superhero wedding, so someone had to break it up. In this case, it was the Injustice League. They do eventually get married though, because it was meant to be. After the events of Cry for Justice, Oliver was arrested by the Justice League. It's a long story. When Diana visits him in jail, she realizes he wants to be left alone, and she takes off her wedding ring and leaves. She would then go to Gotham and rejoin with her Birds of Prey team. Alright, sounds like everything's on track. She has a set origin, some deep interesting characterization, but something is looming. Something dark. Something which even our greatest heroes can't stop. The New 52. Yes, another DC Universe reboot. In 2011, DC rebooted their entire continuity once again, an attempt to pull in new readers without having to worry about decades of backstory. This was called The New 52. Due to this, Diana's entire origin was revamped because there would no longer be a Justice Society in this new universe. DC instead decided to mash the two Dianas together, no longer mother and daughter, but just one person, known as Diana Drake. Diana Drake was born to a teenage mother and would eventually get taken into foster care. At age 10, she would run away from her foster parents and would begin living on the streets of Gotham. She eventually would meet Desmond Lamar, an ex-Special Forces agent who ran a martial arts dojo. Desmond would take her in and let her live at the dojo and also began training her. He would eventually die and Diana would take over the dojo. The dojo was destroyed in a fire, and that's when Diana was recruited into Team 7. Team 7 is a Special Forces, Black Ops, military kind of badass team. There she would be given the codename Operative Canary, and she would meet Kurt Lance. Kurt this time, not Larry. These two would begin dating. She would develop her canary cry after Team 7 did some tests on her with some alien DNA, and after Kurt's apparent death, she would leave the team and change her codename to Black Canary. She would go on to work as a freelance operative for various military groups. Diana would eventually become roommates with Barbara Gordon, and they would form the Birds of Prey with Huntress. It was also at this time she would start a band, Ashes on Sunday.
Well, that's just silly.
I didn't think it could get dumber than Sherwood Florists, but here we are. The New 52 was a success at first, but eventually had some major fan backlash, so they did a soft reboot, rebrand, refresh, restart, whatever you want to call it, rebirth. It wouldn't reset the universe, but just put things back from older continuity, but also keep parts of the New 52 continuity. Look, it's been 4 years and I still don't understand Rebirth. The biggest change in Rebirth for Diana is they would team her back up with Oliver once again and they would fall in love. What did I tell you? You can't keep these two kids apart. They also lengthened some of her relationships with other characters, so she's now known Barbara for many years, and she became a big part of the Green Arrow comic until its eventual cancellation in 2019, ending with Green Arrow number 50. and that's the last I've seen of her in the comics. As I mentioned before, she's appeared on many TV shows, both live action and cartoon, and also in movies. So I'd like to take a minute to talk about those versions. So the first version of Black Canary outside the comics was way back in 1979 in the TV special Legend of the Superheroes. She had played by Duwata Wesley and had a motorcycle. That's about all I got on that. She'd pop up again in the short-lived WB series Birds of Prey. You can see me look into that series in another video on the card that just popped up. Check that out if you'd like. In this series, she is played by Rachel Skarsten and had psychic abilities. Yep, psychic abilities. It was bad. A good version of Black Canary finally happened in 2004 in Justice League Unlimited. This was a cartoon in the same universe as the Batman animated series. She is voiced by the one, the only, Inara from Firefly. She appeared as a featured character in many episodes, and for first-time Canary watchers, I suggest you start here. She also showed up in the 7th season of Smallville, played by Elaine Huffman. In this show, she was a conservative colonist who was a metahuman vigilante by night. She joined this show's version of the Justice League. I've never seen Smallville, so I don't know if this is a good version or not. You let me know. Now we get to talk about everyone's favorite TV show universe, the Arrowverse. For the record, though, I actually love the Arrowverse. So in keeping with her comic counterpart's insane history, the Arrowverse has had 4 Black Canaries. That's right, 4. The first to actually be known as Black Canary was Sarah Lance, played by Katie Lotz. She was on the same ship that Oliver is on when it sunk, but she got picked up by pirates and eventually trained by the League of Assassins. She joined up with Oliver in Season 2, had a grenade type of sonic device that worked as her canary cry. This is before metahumans became part of the show. She would eventually become the White Canary and lead the Legends of Tomorrow. The second Canary was Laurel Lance, played by Katie Cassidy. She was introduced in the first season but did not take up the Black Canary mantle until Season 3, when she was inspired by her sister to fight crime. She had a device from Star Labs that would give her her canary cry. This version of Black Canary would die come Season 4. The third version of Black Canary would be Diana Drake in Season 5. She's a former police officer and metahuman that would join up with Oliver's Team Arrow and help fight crime. She was finally a metahuman version of Black Canary. And finally, the fourth Black Canary was an evil version of Laurel from Earth 2, who is known as Black Siren. She's the closest to the comics, in my opinion. She would move to Earth 1 and by Season 7 recant her evil ways and become a hero. Alright, that's probably far too much time spent on the Arrowverse, but I think it's interesting how many versions they decided to have. There was even an idea for a spin-off show called Green Arrow and the Canaries that had a backdoor pilot in one episode of Arrow. Shows how far that universe has come, from an ultra-realistic Nolan-esque universe to something with dimension hopping and superpowers. I don't want to go into every version that's appeared outside comics, but she also appeared in Batman the Brave and the Bold, Young Justice, DC Superhero Girls, Batman Beyond, Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, DC Showcase Green Arrow, and Teen Titans Go to the Movies. The most recent version of Black Canary was in 2020's Birds of Prey, where she is played by Journey Smollett-Bell. This movie is part of the extended DC universe, and here we see her working odd jobs for Black Mask, and she does have her signature canary cry. It's currently unknown how she got that power, as most of her backstory was left as a mystery. Well, I think that'll do it. That's pretty much the entire history of Black Canary. This is insane trying to unravel this twisted ball of backstory. Reboots, retcons, company shakeups have stopped her from having a set story, but also can be kind of fun to keep up with. I'd love to see her get a solo comic again, and also really love to see her in a Birds of Prey sequel movie. She's a great character, and I hope through this video you learned something about her and got you a little bit interested in Black Canary. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Everything You Want to Know. Let me know in the comments if there's a character you'd like to see me cover in a future episode, and if you like this video, hit that like button. I'm Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard. Until next time, hold on to your hold slots.